Today, I'm going to talk about knives, ferro rods, and fat wood. So if you want to see what my preferred list of knives is and what they need to have, and ferro rods, and talk a little bit about fat wood, stay tuned. Okay, so let's get right into this. The first choice, I've got several knives sitting here. Some of these are more oriented towards survival. Some of them kind of aren't. A couple of them are heirloom pieces that I'm going to share with you. But let's get it started into the more budget-friendly option. This particular knife right here is a Schrade SCHF9. It's a Griffin design. This is a really good budget starter survival knife. I got this probably 2 or 3 years ago for Christmas. I think it was like $45 shipped to my door. And one thing you always want to look for in a survival knife is it has to be full tang. I don't recommend anything that's not full tang. Full tang means it's just a full length, one solid piece of steel, and then it's got 2 handle grips on either side of the steel. It's got to be full tang. Folders are not going to be a good survival knife. Moras are pretty good. There's only one that's a full tang, and that's the Garberg. That's an excellent knife, excellent choice too. I've held one in my hand and used it. I don't personally own one. I do have a Mora Cansbowl that I don't have here on the table, but the Cansbowl and most of the other Moras are not going to be full tang. I don't recommend those as a survival knife, bushcraft knife. I know there's people that use them. I know there's people that swear by them. They're a good knife, but I don't know if I'd put my life on the line with one not being full tang. This particular knife, the Schrade, this thing is a 1/4 inch thick. That is a thick honkin' steel right there. Awesome. I can't remember what the steel is, but it's not one of your super steels. It's not going to be a hard one to sharpen because of that, but it is going to get dull a lot quicker. If you end up going with this, you should probably take out each one of these screws that's in the handle, put a little bit of Loctite on them, put them back in so they're not going to go anywhere. Now, in order to get this to strike a ferro rod reasonably well, I had to take it to a belt sander or a belt type knife sharpener, and I had to grind the back of that spine down just a little bit to get a sharp edge on it, because when you get it from the factory stock, it does not have a sharp edge on it, and it is a pain in the butt trying to strike a ferro rod with a knife that doesn't have a good 90-degree spine, and a survival knife needs to have a good 90-degree spine to it. And because of its size and weight, it makes striking a ferro rod pretty easy. So it's pretty nice now. It's got some weight to it. I don't know exactly how much it weighs, but it is the heaviest knife here on the table. When you've got this strapped to your side, you're definitely going to feel it. I put a lanyard around it, so that way if I'm going to use it kind of as a chopper, and it's my go-to knife if I'm going to chop, and I can sit here and hold the end of the handle like this and sit and just chop. And it is an awesome chopper because, again, it's heavy and it's thick. Also makes a good batoner. You're not going to break this blade. You're not going to bend this blade with it being a 1/4 inch thick. I mean, that thing is just unreal thick. It's a good knife. It's a bit heavy, but it's a good knife. The sheath that it comes in is pretty chintzy, really, to be honest with you. It's got a plastic insert here, and then it's just kind of some nylon material. It's got a storage pouch here in the front. If you get this knife, I would look into getting a better sheath for it. But all in all, not a bad starter knife. You're probably not gonna find another knife and get the same bang for the buck as this one. Some of the Moras are gonna be in that price range, you know, the $40, $50 price range. They're not gonna be as good of a chopper though, and you're probably not gonna want a baton with them because of them not being a full tang. Anyway, my next knife here is by LT Wright. Before I get into the knife though, I want to talk about this sheath. This sheath is a custom leather sheath made by Donald Gamber. You can go on to Facebook and search Donald Gamber Custom Leather Designs. You can even go on YouTube and search Donald Gamber / Donald Gamber Custom Leather Designs, and you'll find him on there, and he does awesome knife sheaths. I can't remember what this one's made out of, but this is just an awesome sheath. He does this whole thing, even this pouch right here in the front. He made this all by hand sewn, good quality stuff, and it's a dangler, as you can see. It dangles off of your belt. The knife in it though is an LT Wright. And any of you guys in the knife world know LT Wright makes some good stuff. I've used this one a reasonable amount, not a lot. I definitely don't baton with it. And because it's kind of got this decorative spine, I don't know if you can see that really good. There we go. This decorative spine to it. You can strike a ferro rod, but it kind of makes it difficult to do it. But it's got beautiful orange liners. I don't know exactly what the wood is, as far as what type of wood it is, but it is just a beautiful knife. Feels really good in the hand. It shaves pretty well. You can do some super fine feather sticks with it. Just awesome. Also not very heavy, so you're not going to get weighed down by it. It does have a lanyard hole. Don't have a lanyard on it because, again, I don't use it for chopping or batoning or any of that kind of stuff. And I don't remember what the steel on it is. But as far as ferro rods go, you can strike a ferro rod with it. You have to find one of the flat edges on it, and it's a pretty small piece of real estate to do it. But you can do it because that part of it is nice and sharp. Again, awesome knife. Again, also full tang. Survival knives, you got to have full tang to them. Okay, our next knife also is a dangler sheath. You can also carry it scout style, which would be something like this on your waist. It's a little big for that because I've got a ferro rod in here too. But anyway, this sheath was also made by Donald Gamber Leather Crafting, and he made this one specifically for me. It's got my initials in the front here, and for this knife. And what I had to do was send the knife to him, and he made the sheath so it would specifically fit this knife. And this one is a habilis bush tools from the Pathfinder store. It's one of Dave Canterbury's lines. Awesome knife. It's got a bull drill divot in it right here. It's got 2 holes in it, lanyard holes, but it is also full tang. It's made of 1095 high carbon steel, and we'll get into the importance of a 1095 high carbon steel knife here in a minute. But it's got the Scandi grind to it. Awesome grind if you're going to be using it for bush tool type stuff. Sharpens easy, holds an edge easily. It's strong, and I want to say this is probably 3/8 of an inch thick. Yeah, this is a 3/8 inch thick blade. Awesome knife. Anyway, the reason that you might want to choose 1095 high carbon steel in a bushcraft woodsman style survival knife is because you can use it to strike flint on it. It'll make a spark if you strike flint on it. Like a stainless blade, like this LT Wright and the Schrade over here, you can't do that. You won't get a spark off of it. You can strike ferro rods with it, but you can't strike flint with it. But this you can strike flint with, and you can strike ferro rod. It's got a really good 90-degree spine to it. I did not have to modify that at all. It's a great spine. So now we'll get into ferro rods. This particular ferro rod is 1/2 inch diameter by 6 inches thick. And I'm not an expert on ferro rods, but I know there's kind of 2 types out there. You've got just a regular ferro rod, and then you got ones that are called mish metal rods. This one's the ferro rod because it gives off a lot of sparks, but they burn out quick. A mish metal rod is going to give off fewer sparks, but once they fall onto the surface that you're striking, they're going to continue to burn. So they're going to burn a little bit hotter, but you don't have as many. You're going to have to just kind of experiment with ferro rods and determine and get you several kinds of those and determine which ones you like. But as far as a ferro rod goes, your main rod, I would suggest at least 6 inches in length and 1/2 inch in diameter. This handle here, it was made out of deer antler. I made that myself. Super easy to do. I just cut the deer antler off right here. I took a 1/2 inch drill, drilled into it 1 inch. So there's only 5 inches sticking out. Drilled into it 1 inch. And then what I did on the rod that's in the handle is I took a grinder and I put some grooves in it. Squirt a little bit of Gorilla Glue down in there. Put the rod in, let it dry overnight. Haven't had any problems. It's not even getting loose. Doesn't want to come out, which is kind of going to suck because once this rod wears out, which it may never, I would like to reuse this handle, but I'm not going to get to it. The handle just fits in my hand really good, and I can just sit there and scrape on it. No matter what side I want to use, I can just scrape on it really well. So as far as ferro rods go, I do have some other smaller ones and some of my other knives. But as far as ferro rods go, I would recommend for your main ferro rod to have a 1/2 inch diameter by 6 inch long like this. Back to the LT Wright. It does have a ferro rod on it and a striker, since the spine on it is not great, and it's just a 3/8 by 4 inch. It's pretty small, and then the striker is just kind of a multi-purpose type thing. Tool type deal. I got these on eBay, or this one on eBay, for like $5. Not very expensive at all, but you know what? In a pinch, that's better than some of those micro ferro rods that you find. And it's got a ferro rod holder on it as well, right here. Here's up close of the sheath. I didn't really show you up close of the sheath. Outstanding sheath. Go check out his work, it's great. And then here's an up close of this one as well. And with this one, it came with this pouch in the front and this Altoids tin. And what I keep in here is a chunk of fat wood. I keep some tinder quicks in it. I keep some wet fire cubes in it, and then I keep 4 of those magnesium fire starter pills, capsules in it, that you can find in my other video I did of a fire kit. And then in this one here is basically the same type of deal, but it's got a smaller Altoids tin. And in this one I keep some char cloth, those same magnesium capsules you can see in there, along with 4 tinder quicks, and then a piece of cotton on top to kind of just hold everything together. Okay, and then this sheath here is another one by Donald Gamber, and it's got the 2 pouches on it, as you can see here and here. And this pouch, it's got the same as the other. It's got 4 of the magnesium capsules, it's got some tinder quicks, and it's got a stick of fat wood in there and the wet fire cubes. And then the top one is just like what's in this one. Awesome sheath. It's a bit wide. It's not a dangler, it only goes on the belt. And the knife itself is also an LT Wright. This one's called the Patriot with deer antler. Full tang knife. It's got a good 90-degree spine on it. That thing is a ferro rod eating son of a bitch. As you can see, this is not a very big knife, so this would not be your standalone knife as far as a survival knife. But if you wanted to use this for cutting up food or doing some super fine bushcrafting, carving, you're gonna carve up some figure 4 deadfall traps, some arrows, something like that, carving notches in wood for tying stuff down, making shelter. This tiny little knife is awesome. I actually want to get in touch with Donald Gamber again, because again, he made this sheath, but I want to get him to make me a necker sheath for it, because this would be an awesome neck knife. Obviously the blade would be up, but it'd be an awesome neck knife. But you could use this along with your main knife for a survival type situation. Would work great. Okay. The next knife here, you could use as a survival knife, I guess. The design, you definitely could. The design of this knife is a kukri. And this particular one is super, super old. I know that it comes from Peru. I don't remember what kind of steel it's made out of. It's probably not going to be a super high grade steel, but I do know a little bit of the history behind this. My grandfather brought this back from Peru sometime in the 50s or the 60s. I know it's at least from the 1960s, mid 1960s. The spine on it, it does have a bit of a spine to it. It's not a super sharp spine. In fact, I've never even tried to scrape ferro rod with it. Let's see if it'll do it. Yeah, it'll do it. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it'll do it. And this thing is also super thick, probably 1/4 inch thick. I mean, this thing is a big honking knife. Don't know what the wood is on it. Also don't know what the steel is as far as the type of steel. It's got a bit of an insignia on it on this side. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. No. Awesome knife though. I don't use it for anything. It's more of a kind of a family heirloom. Again, my grandfather gave me this. But a kukri is an awesome choice in a survival knife. The first season of Alone, I believe his name was Alan. Anyway, he ended up winning it for the first season of Alone, and his was a kukri. I'm not sure what brand or what kind, but his was a kukri. Awesome knife. And then most traditional kukris are going to come with 2 smaller knives in the same sheath, and these are just for finer work, doing smaller tasks, stuff like that. These are not full tang. You can tell that it's not made of a stainless steel because it does have a little bit of rust on it. I haven't sharpened these. I haven't ground down the rust, obviously, but I have put a coat of oil on them so that they can't continue to rust. But it's got 2 of them in there. A little bit different shape to them. A good quality kukri out of some good quality steel. As long as it's got a full tang 90-degree spine would be an excellent choice for a survival bushcraft knife because you can definitely chop with it, hack shit down with it. You can baton with it. But again, most kukris you're going to find are going to be pretty big. So it's going to be a big blade. The next knife here is a United States Marine Corps issue K-bar. This one came from my grandfather himself. He gave me this one after his 20 plus years, I believe it was right around 23, 25 years of service in the United States Marine Corps. He was a drill instructor. He also did a little bit of time in the Navy. He was a fighter pilot for a little while, among other things. He did a lot of stuff. He started out, for you military guys, United States Marine Corps guys, old school military guys are going to know that what this means when I say he started out as a maverick and went all the way to the top, meaning he started out nothing, just bottom of the ranks, and went all the way up. And when he retired, he was a major. He was just about up for lieutenant colonel, but he decided to retire and go on home and spend time with the family. But this is an authentic United States Marine Corps issue K-bar. It is full tang, but it's a different full tang. Once it gets into the handle, it gets a lot thinner, but you can see it here on the back end of the handle where it comes through. It does have a good 90-degree spine, so you could use it to strike ferro rods. It is not high carbon steel, so you're not going to be able to use flint with it to use it for like flint and steel. But a good quality K-bar would be a good choice. I mean, and this thing is solid. I mean, there is no slop, there is no movement in this whatsoever. This is just, would be devastating. Get hit in the freaking skull with that thing. Also, I don't use this knife. It's, as you can imagine, it's another kind of an heirloom piece from my grandfather. One day I'll pass it down to my kids. And then for the last knife, this was my service knife when I was in the service. This is a cold steel. Can't remember what model it is. Oh, it's an OSS right there on the handle. This is the knife I used when I was in the service. It went with me on both deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. And I wore it on my Molly LBE everywhere I went. Great knife, not a survival knife as far as, you know, being in the bush or any of that kind of stuff. It's definitely a survival knife if you're in a combat situation. It's not super heavy. It isn't full tang, but again, you're not going to be batoning with it. You're not going to be chopping down trees with it, but it's got good weight to it. It feels good in the hand. It's got a nice long blade, so you can actually reach out there. It's sharpened on both sides. Super sharp. It's an awesome knife. It doesn't get any use nowadays, obviously, but I wore it upside down on the front of my Molly LBE. That way, if I needed to get to it quick, it was just tied down right here. I could unsnap it and pull it down and out. And I could do what I needed to do with it. For the last ferro rod that I've got sitting here, this sucker right here is going to be an awesome rod. To give you some perspective, this one was 1/2 inch diameter. This one is 3/4 inch diameter. I mean, look at that difference. Also 6 inches long. This one's 6 inches, but there's an inch buried in the handle that I made here. I got this on eBay, and I'm probably gonna get this wrong. If you know who I'm talking about, put it in the comments down below. And if the guy I got this on eBay from is watching, I apologize. But the guy I got this from on eBay was Nathan 4071, I believe. Nathan 4771, something like that. Again, I apologize. I know that's kind of tacky of me not to know exactly the name of it, but I have forgotten. But it's Nathan 4071, something like that. Awesome ferro rods. He's got a YouTube channel. If you go on Redneck Renegade's channel, he does fat wood stuff, ferro rod stuff. He's got several ferro rods from this guy. Great stuff. Anyway, on to the fat wood part. Get some of this stuff moved out of the way. So I've got several chunks of fat wood here. Nice big chunks of fat wood. Another frying pan. This right here is an awesome chunk. This is what you want to look for. I mean, it is just yellowy orange. You can see the veins in that. You've got the dark veins of just pure resin, pure tree sap. Awesome chunk of fat wood. Now, of course, you're probably not going to carry this whole chunk of fat wood on you, but you can take it and you can baton a couple of chunks off of it and use it. Use the chunks, pack the chunks with you, and do what you got to do. Let's compare these. Let's see. What do I want to do? Right here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That smells so good. That is some good quality fat wood right there. So all you got to do is take a nice sliver like that, chunk like that. If it's longer and a little bit bigger around, even better. And just shave it off there. I like to use the back of my knife, which is another good reason you need a 90 degrees, good sharp 90 degree spine on it. So you can shave off some filings with it. Nice, good, fine filings with it. Get you a good pile. Depending on where you live, fatwood is probably generally pretty easy to find. If you live in the Midwest or up in the mountains or something where you have evergreens, a lot of evergreen trees. If you don't, it's easy to find on eBay, places like that, and you can get some good quality fatwood. In fact, I thought about doing that, getting some fatwood off of eBay, reviewing it, seeing what's good, seeing what isn't, and letting people know if that's something you want to see. Let me know and I'll do that. This stuff here, I found where I live up in the mountains. Get you a pile of it. See how easy this lights up. Well, so far not so easy. I'm going to risk it, trying to light it directly on the table. There we go. It's just hard to do it in that pan. You can tell when it's a good fatwood when you get that black soot just rolling off of it. You can tell it's burning hot. There's a lot of resin in it. Some other pieces that came off of the same chunk. Man, that was really hard to light the pan. Try this other piece. A good fatwood will also have a pretty long burn time to it too. It won't just go up all at once. It's gonna burn a long time because it's got a lot of resin or tree sap that it's impregnated with. Well, shit. You could easily get a fire going with that little bit that I put in there. Okay, so we do the same thing. We're just going to shave this one down. This one's kind of rough, so it might not have as good of shavings to it. When I get a good pile of shavings on this one, I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I took about 10 minutes, got me a nice little pile of that. and some shavings, some bigger shavings right off of that. And that original piece, that original pile I did, is still burning. And again, I did this for about 10 minutes. Took a little bit more time, got some smaller pieces, smaller pile to it. Well, bigger pile, just smaller pieces in it. We'll see how easy this one goes up. Ooh, nice. Better be careful I don't burn the garage down. I'm gonna have a hard time explaining that one to the wife. And you can smell the sap and the resin in a good fat wood when it burns, because again, it's going to have that nice thick black soot smoke just rolling off of it. Awesome fat wood stuff right here. Great pieces. Anyway, like I said, I was going to try some of that eBay stuff, eBay fat wood that you can find. If you want to see how good that is, you want me to get some and try it out, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you liked the video on what, in my opinion, are the best types of survival knives, bushcraft knives, and the ferro rods. If you have any comments or advice, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.